Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Sports Entertainment Weekly's Premier League review of game weeks 21 and 22. It's been a roller coaster of a week for those of us in the title race and United. Hello. Uh, so we'll start off with an interesting game that I saw, which was Brentford hosting Manchester City. Brentford have had the second best home record. They had the best home record for a long time this season, and they hosted City, who are definitely not flying very high. And it was a really pulsating encounter. I was telling a friend to continue watching this game once City went up 2-0. Brentford were really physical, and City went up to the first half was pretty evenly matched. I thought Brentford had like the better chances, and then City went up 2 goals, and my friend was like, "Oh, I'm going to turn this off," and I was like, "No, keep watching because the combination of Vissa and Mbuemo can always pull a surprise." So that's exactly what happened. 2 goals. That header by Norgard at the end was brilliant. So it was actually one of the best games I've watched all season. So yeah, my standout performers were Vissa and Buemo. They never stopped. Brentford as a team are really good. And Thomas Frank is a top coach. I think he's probably my second or third favorite coach in the Premier League right now. So yeah, it was a hugely impressive performance from them. And I think City were not physical enough. I know they've been making some moves in the transfer market, but again, they're not addressing their main physicality issues. Foden came up with a couple of goals, and everyone is starting the Foden is the greatest of all time agenda again, which I don't know. I don't buy it. Uh, he kind of is very hot and cold usually. So maybe he's again in his resurgence era.
I think
Thoughts,
Brentford
Nitin?
is to City what Brighton is to United, the Wogi team. Can't
I
say
think
anything
I think
more,
that's
right?
actually Spurs. Honestly,
Uh,
that's Spurs.
yeah, Spurs at White Lane, if you say so. Not at the City Stadium, though. So Etihad, the City still have a better record, but yeah, I think City did not score at White Hart Lane till this year or the year before, if I'm not mistaken.
Hmm.
So they had a barren
Last
patch.
season was the first season they scored, and of course they had to score there when all they had to do was drop 2 points for Arsenal to win the title, and they didn't do
And
that.
then
They went
Son
and
happened.
scored.
And
Yeah,
then
and
Son
then
happened.
yeah, that's just the Spursiness. I think that's the game that actually broke Ange. We'll come to Ange in a bit, but yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's the game that has actually broken him.
but I think Brentford put full effort for that City game, and that evidently showed when they played again against Liverpool because they were a mere shadow of the team that showed up against City. I think yeah, you cannot expect Thomas Frank to do wonders with like what he has. He has already done wonders in my opinion, but you're just asking
Exactly.
too much of him when you're facing two of the best sides in Liverpool and City back to back, right? So that clearly showed because their efforts with the physicality that they were showing, the players were constantly pressing till the last minute hoping for a result against City. And City, just like how they capitulated against Feyenoord in the Champions League, they just showed the same thing. They don't have that person like a Rodri who can just control the game and kill the game by just keeping the ball and not giving it. They were not as prolific with their passing as well against Brentford, where they were far too lousy and passive with their passing, which clearly gave Brentford the spaces to exploit in the back. And City's defense is clearly very shaky. It is not something like what we have seen over the past 5 years without that six who is clearly protecting the defense. And that's why you see that Pep has gone and splashed another 100 million on defenders this window, and yeah, no one has this privilege as City as well. So the moment
Yeah.
you get like a string of defeats, you have Mr. Sheikh splashing money, and somehow they always find a way to spend the money and get by without any PSR regulations. So yeah, it's just
More to come on that from the Premier League, I suppose. But you're absolutely right. Sorry to cut you off there, but I think it's in general. I also want to talk about it's a little meta, but the Premier League as a whole, I've seen the quality go up massively this year, this season. All like Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham. These are all top teams, and they're able to recruit really well, good profiles. And I think till last year, City had like that aura of, oh, we are City, nobody can touch us. Definitely played a part in that. But I felt like teams would give up before they even played City. They would. I feel like there is no team in the Premier League where that can't be got at. Like I feel like the quality is just good enough in the Premier League where if you just keep at it, you can get a result against any team. It's just the luck of the draw sometimes. Sometimes the ball just bounces in your favor and you can get that result. Speaking of getting a result, I don't know how to put this, but Arvind, do you think Forest got a result against Liverpool or did Liverpool get a result against the Forest?
Like if you're looking at the first half, then I'd say Liverpool got a result against Forest. But if you look at the way Liverpool played in the second half, I'd say Forest were very lucky to get a point from that game. Because I feel during the first half, Liverpool always have this tendency of not being proactive and starting fast. So when they only rise when they concede a goal early in the first half, and then there's a kind of a mountain to climb when you're playing teams like Forest in such tricky grounds like the City ground. Secondly, what I felt is had Liverpool been a tad bit more decisive and composed in the final third during the first half, I feel we could have had a goal in the first half itself. But other than that, when what I liked about the Forest game was that Slot was very quick to understand what the exact issue was, and his substitutions actually paid off. You rarely see substitutes just coming into the pitch and making an impact like how Simikas and uh, this guy Jota had made. So yeah, I'm kind of okay with that performance, but I felt we could have won it, especially given the fact that we were peppering Nottingham right throughout the second half, and Sells was incredible that game.
I think Sales has been
Yep,
incredible throughout the season.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep,
Uh,
yep,
Another standout performer for me from the Forest side, well, a couple of them. One of them is Murillo. What
yep.
a great defender. He is
Insane.
brilliant. He reminds me of Rudiger a little bit. Solid defender with a little bit of insanity in him. Uh, and also Elanga. What a great pickup he has been for Forest. Great standout performer. Yeah. Uh,
Even Neko Williams was really good against Salah. He
yeah.
kept Salah quiet throughout the game, and yep,
yeah.
and
And what do you think, Arvind? Salah has blanked for 2 games now. Is it?
nah. I see. Look, I
know,
won't buy
I
it.
know because I
Yeah.
have him as my captain in my FPL. And so every time he dips, even though as a
See,
United.
you have jinxed him, not the Christmas tree. You have jinxed.
No, so the thing is, you do want him to do good because none of my other players are doing anything. And the form that he has been showing, it's of course difficult to consistently show. But do you think that his impact has reduced because he's not getting away the shots that he has gotten away before, like 5 6 weeks ago? Is it because like Forest, of course, defended very well, or like what do you see as the reason?
See, I won't say that Salah has dropped or his impact has been bad over the last couple of games. Okay, I accept that for the United game and the game against Nottingham, he was a bit anonymous. But then when you look at his performance against Brentford, he could have had a couple of assists. Gakpo could have scored, and I feel he should have scored that one-on-one against Flecken in the first half. And against Forest, Salah was very unlucky to see his shot being saved on the line by Aina. So yeah, although like you won't see Salah skinning defenders left, right, and center, but his game is such that he's taking up those positions where he can get those shots away and create opportunities for his teammates. However, it was very unlucky that Salah didn't add to his goals and assist tally against Brentford and Nottingham because of some profligacy in front of goal and also some outstanding defending on the line. So I won't
At the
bite too
big
much into it. Yeah. What I feel is our attackers should help Salah a bit more. So I do get it that Salah has been contributing left, right, and center this season. But whenever Salah is having an off game, you need the likes of Gakpo and say Diaz to step up a little bit and contribute to goals.
Gakpo has
But yes,
stepped up
Gakpo has been
massively.
doing well. Yes, yes, a
Gakpo has
bit
been
more,
doing
a bit
well.
more.
Possibly the
Yeah,
rest of the folks, right? Diaz has been like inconsistent. He's like,
very, very well.
and Jota is
Jota
injured,
is made of exactly. He's made of glass, so can't help it.
and you have Nunes, of course.
He's unpredictable. He's so unpredictable. I don't know which version of Nunes we'll get. Sometimes he couldn't hit a barn door to save his life, but sometimes he's going to be like those clinical strikers who will come in and make the impact.
Nunes is chaos, is complete chaos. And I think coming back to the Salah point, it also puts into perspective what the whole, 20, I think the assist record in the Premier League, that's why it stood for so long. Salah was on track to have like 60 goal involvements or something crazy like that in the first half of the season. But people always forget how difficult it is and how thick the games come in like January and February and March, especially when you have the intense stages of the Champions League coming up, where people, all players have a dip in form. And it's just natural. Nobody can score and nobody can have a goal contribution in every game, which is why that Premier League record, even though it seems like a small number, it has withstood the test of time. I still feel Salah is going to break it this season, but it's yeah, it just puts it into perspective. So overall, I
Yeah.
think at the end of the Forest Liverpool game, there were a lot of buttholes that were a little tightly clenched,
Yes.
because Liverpool finally dropped some points, and it went over to Arsenal and Spurs, and it was an incredible performance given the context of the attackers. Arsenal don't have missed this season. No Saka, no Jesus, who was just getting back into form. At this point, Arsenal have four fit attackers, and they are, you have Trossard, you have Martinelli, you have Kai Havertz, and you have I don't even remember. Like we have like
Sterling.
four of Sterling. I guess you could
Sterling.
call him an attacker at this point. And Havertz, we all saw how many chances he missed against United in the FA Cup game. Same against Newcastle. He was running low on confidence. But Arsenal's defense is top. Their pressing is top. Spurs are probably the only team who I feel have, an even worse injury record. I'll come to Bournemouth later. They probably have the worst one, and they've done a great job. But Spurs have had a lot of injuries. They're playing a makeshift back line. They have Archie Gray, who's, I don't know, 18 years old, who's a midfielder who's playing and doing a really good job in defense. Um, Poro is probably their only recognized like member of their back four. They had like some 18-year-old keeper playing in the back line. And Arsenal again failed to take advantage of the situation. uh, Rice, in his interview after the game, said we should have scored 10 goals. And I don't disagree. The number of chances Arsenal had, and they couldn't put it through. And when you don't finish your chances, you always leave the door open for variance. That's exactly what happened. Son scored from the second phase of a set piece after criticizing Arsenal for set piece goals all season. Spurs scored from a set piece. Always seems to count when other teams are playing, right? So they scored, but when Spurs scored, I honestly wasn't too worried. I knew we would get chances. I was just praying that we'd finish those, and that's exactly what happened. Gabriel, Big Gabby showed up again, another set piece goal, which I will acknowledge should not have been a corner. It went off. It clearly went out of play off Trossard. We shouldn't have gotten that corner, but hey, shit happens. We got the goal. And I think even without that, we would have scored at some point because Spurs are not great at defending set pieces. Ange is very stubborn at not hiring a set piece coach. And then, of course, we had the winner shortly afterwards. And it was great to see Trossard also get a goal. From open play, he finally remembered how to shoot. Just shoot at the keeper. Sometimes the ball just goes into the net. Kinski was a little shaky. And after that, in the second half, Ange wanted to make some changes, attacking changes. He brought on Madison and he took off, I think, Bissouma, who was culpable for the second goal, and then he brought on Brennan Johnson. I was very surprised he started Kulusevski on the left. He's been Spurs' standout performer this season, but all of his great contributions have come from the center. He did switch things around, bringing Brennan Johnson, but it was just Arsenal's defense is just good. They just held on for the win, and at that moment, uh, I bet everyone in North London felt at the top of the world because finally Liverpool had dropped points and Arsenal had actually capitalized on it. But we'll come to the next game in a bit. But any thoughts, any questions on this game?
When was the last time Spurs won at Emirates? I think it's been quite a while, right?
Spurs have won at the Emirates only once, and it's been many, many years. I think in the
I
last
think
30 years, they've only
Yunus
won
Kabul
one
had
game
scored.
away at
Yeah,
Arsenal.
Kabul had scored that game,
Yeah,
90th minute
yeah,
winner. Yeah,
yeah. I
Was
think
it
it's
was
been
it during
30
the black
years.
time or the Redknapp time?
It was Redknapp.
Redknapp, I think. Redknapp.
This was Redknapp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things you usually like over the past like few years, they've all been, 5, 6 years ago, there would be affairs where you would either have the home side win or you
Hmm.
would somehow manage a draw at the away stadium. But over the last few years, last 3 seasons, in fact, Arsenal have not lost at all. They've won at Spurs for the last for the last 3 seasons, and at home last season, the Jorginho mistake cost us the goal, cost us the win. We were kind of cruising at 2-1 up. So yeah, it's good to be 2 points better off in this fixture than we were last season. I guess that's a silver lining that I can again take. I think Trossard was actually my standout performer in that game, and Declan Rice. They've both been really, really good. Rice, especially, has been, he's had a very busy last season. He played all the way to the finals of the Euros. He's not been fully fit. He had a broken toe. Now I feel like we're again seeing the best of Declan Rice. He's just he's just a demon. Like physically, he's just top, and people underrate his technique. His corner delivery is there like a B-52 bomber, just dropping that into the right spot every single time. It's incredible to see. And shout out to Miles Lewis Skelly, who's been our left back in the past like 3 or 4 games. He's only 18 years old. All the hype was about Ethan Nwaneri, but Miles Lewis Skelly, he is like his physicality. He's just completely pocketed Kulusevski. His composure on the ball, it's just incredible to see. And he's like another Jurian Timber on the left now, which is just, you know, how many times does that happen? So yeah, it's been a really, really great performance. Uh, I think the stock falling is honestly Spurs as a whole. They've just, regardless of their injuries, I feel like if a manager is not adapting to the circumstances and not respecting the opposition, what is he doing, right? The Spurs are what 15th in the table now, and any top manager that claims to be a top manager like Postecoglou should be doing more to support his team. Like if you're just going to let your players play the way they want to play, that's not a great way of coaching, in my opinion.
I think we'll have to factor in the injury crisis that they have. Like they don't have a backline, a recognized backline on their side. They have their first goalkeeper injured, their second goalkeeper injured as well.
Yeah,
So
Klasa,
yeah,
but even with the
exactly.
first
Yeah,
team, he doesn't change anything.
yeah.
And
You
he's
have to be
basically
at
the
one
Brisbane
point. You be
Bielsa,
pragmatic,
right,
right?
you cannot blame. I have spoken to a few Spurs fans, and the
right?
thing is, he sticks to his ideologies. Ultimately, whether it works or doesn't work, at
Yeah,
times
but if it gets you relegated, what's that?
I
What's
don't
the
think they
ideology
Exactly.
for?
I don't think they will get relegated because there are easily three teams that are worse than Spurs. Okay, so
Sure,
whenever
but
that but the
if
thing
you're
is,
finishing
there is a
like
good chance that
repeatedly, like
he can
yeah,
still win a title, which Spurs haven't done in quite a while. So if he wins the Carabao Cup, there is still a possibility for them to enter European competition through some other way, right? So
yeah. I
you don't
think
have to technically finish like in top four, okay? So
I
or
mean,
in top
if
eight.
if Ange wins the Carabao Cup with Spurs, he'll actually become one of the greatest ever Spurs managers
Yeah, because
instantly.
none of them have won. He would have
Yeah,
possibly out eclipsed Poch's legacy because Poch has
yeah,
not won anything there. So that is all that it takes. 2 games away from a trophy, and he constantly like boasts that he always wins in his second season. there's a good chance that he could win a silverware. And
Yeah,
I don't think that will be good for Arsenal, because you might end up trophyless and Spurs might have a trophy at the end of the season.
I'd much rather Arsenal be in our position than in Spurs' position, though. So because at least at the end of the day, Mikel Arteta still has three trophies to his name. Uh,
Uh,
of course, the
Come
of
on,
course the
come on.
Charity
It is
Shield only matters when your team is winning it. So I know
No, it
that,
is not a
but
trophy. Even if you win it, it's not a trophy. It's a charity shield. Okay, it
sure,
has
sure.
charity in its.
But the FA Cup does count.
FA
So
Cup counts, yeah. So you can
yeah,
say FA Cup, but
yeah. So
yeah. But what do
uh,
you think
going
about
going yeah,
Rice?
go ahead.
Rice constantly starting as the left eight. Do you really think that experiment is going to work in the long run? Because
It's not an
Rice,
experiment. He's doing an incredible job as the left eight because the way Arsenal play, they want to win possession high up and win those second balls. And that's something that Rice is incredible at. His physicality is just incredible to watch.
he was never
Now there's
that.
news of now
It
there's
was not
news of the
profile.
transfer news that broke over the week.
It
The
was not a
transfer news that
profile at
broke over
West
the
Ham,
week.
though.
Sorry,
It was not his
sorry.
profile at West Ham, though. Why is he
Yeah,
trying to
but
change the player? Because you paid 100 million for a player who was playing in a different manner at West Ham, and you are expecting him to do a different duty at Arsenal. Because
at
for me, Rice is still like a better like protecting Saliba and Gabriel, and like easily circulating possession, making life easier for Odegaard after winning kinballs, rather than him going up and down as a box to box player. Of course, he is doing a decent job. I'm not going to say he's bad at it, but I just feel
yeah.
he's making his profile right now.
So last season, including the corners, Rice had 20 goal involvements in the league. And if he plays as a six, you're leaving that on the table. Right now, with Arsenal's goal scoring issues, it makes way more sense for us to have Rice play as the left eight, push forward, push the team forward. And I think what he offers as the left eight is way more what we need at this point. With the news that we have like a pre-contract agreed with Zubimendi for next summer. I think this is going to just continue. Arteta has his reasons for playing Rice as the left eight. Uh, with him in the squad, we were almost title winners last season. We are doing really, we're doing a good job considering all of our injuries this season. And I think Arteta has his own reasons, and I think he's going to continue to play in there regardless of how we feel about it. But let's leave Arsenal and Spurs behind for now, and let's move on to the last game of the midweek, which was United Southampton, which finished 3-1. You were at the stadium, so give us your report and replay a recap of this game.
Yeah, so the game started out as a quite an even affair, I would say. It was a six-pointer for United, because where we are languishing in the table, we have to beat the teams below us at least to first assure that we stay in the Premier League. And yeah, the game started out quite even, but Southampton was quite good on the ball. Like they pressed extremely high, and they prevented United from playing the game that they wanted to. And the good thing that United has done against all the big sides is they have been quite good off the ball, and whenever they have been given the ball to play with it, they have found it hard. I think it will take some time for players to accustom with how Amarim wants to play with the ball, because he does want United to control the possession, press high, win all the second balls higher up the field. He wants to play a high line, but Spurs completely outplayed us with the press that they had, and Euro was specifically targeted in the game. It's his third game after the injury, and he's a 19-year-old boy. And I don't think it's good to blame or say ask him to do better. He will come good at some point of time, because he is one of the best center back prospects across Europe right now. And Suleimana played like an amazing game. He took him on the outside, on the inside. Like he beat him for pace every single time. And Yoro is good with tackling, but that was the first time I saw him get beat for pace, because I've seen him tackle against Liverpool, last ditch defense all of that, and he is very good at tackling. But the moment he was beaten for good. And yeah, once they scored, I thought that it looked like a very tough game to come back, but because the way United was playing throughout, nothing happened as such. And Amarim made decent substitutions. He tried to overload one side with Anthony, and but my thought was Ahmad should have played up higher up in the field and should have possibly played closer to the goal rather than him being on the defensive side. He played right wing back majorly for 70 to 80 minutes of the game, and the moment he played closer to the goal, things started changing. And Hoyland had a very bad game. Nothing stuck for him. Whenever someone passed it to him, his first touch has to be improving over a course of time, which hasn't happened. I hope he changes that and he does learn from this. As soon as Xerxes came into the game changed completely, because Xerxes' shoulder play was amazing. Like, he dropped deep, and Southampton defenders immediately did not know what to do, whom to mark. And the moment he had runners around him, he was able to bring in more players into the pitch. And yeah, Ahmad just decided to score and then score again and then score again. So yeah, can't complain. He just saved the day that day, I would say, because it was not just him, but it was all the substitutions that also worked for Amarim. And the moment we had such a bad game for like 70 to 80 odd minutes, I knew that it was going to be a difficult game because the recovery time is quite less as well, and we were playing a far superior opposition the weekend as well. So I was just happy that we were able to get at least 3 points that night, and left the stadium buzzing.
Yeah, it does. One question is that Southampton are not great, are they? They have like shades of Derby County from like I think 0708 or something about them, or 0506. I can't remember. Like that Derby County team that got like I think 7 or 8 points
3 points.
in that entire
20,
season.
Yeah.
was it 8 or
They don't
20?
score generally. They don't score. That's the issue. And I still remember because we were sitting right next to the Southampton fans, and they were chanting like, "How shit you must be because we have scored against you." And yeah, we had to tolerate all of that for 80 minutes before Ahmad saved our faces, I would say. But yeah, even the goal that they scored was an own goal, because yeah, they didn't threaten much apart from uh, like Suleimana beating Euro and giving an odd chance. They were in control of the game, but with not much danger to the goal as such. And
Do you
them
say
being
that?
go
Would
ahead.
you say that Euro's performance is very actually typical of a 19-year-old because he's like
Yeah,
new
it's
to
very
this league,
typical. That's why
right? It's
it's a new
inconsistent.
league.
He's
It's
good.
a new
He's
league. It's a
yeah.
new league. And as I said, right, even in the beginning of the season, like, he's someone for the future. I don't think he's going to make any impact this year or even the year after. I think you'll see the actual Euro maybe 2 3 years from now, because that's when he would have accustomed to the league and he would be more comfortable, because his physicality, everything needs to still improve because he's still a teenager.
Yeah. Well, leaving happier times behind in Manchester, we head back to London, where Brentford hosted Liverpool on this weekend on game week 22. Arvind, what did you make of this game? You kind of had it, like,
Minute
you kind
0
of
to
got away with it.
90, I was tensed. From minute 0 to 90, I was tensed. I thought that's it. We're going to drop points this game, and Arsenal are going to win against Aston Villa. The gap's going to reduce to 2 points. Then steps up Darwin Nunes. I mean, when he scored the first goal, the sigh of relief, oh my God. I started jumping around my house. Thankfully, no one was there, or else they would have been shouting at me saying, "Why you jumping like an absolute lunatic?" But then, yeah, I mean, brilliant cameo from Nunes, Chiesa, and Harvey Elliott. And this brings me to the point where I feel Slot should like have some faith in these substitutes, because when plan A doesn't work, definitely plan B or plan C could end up working. And what I feel is we have capable players in the bench like Endo, like Elliot, like Chiesa, like even Nunes on a couple of occasions, who can come in and make the difference. And thankfully, it paid off against Brentford. But then I feel same like similar to the Nottingham Forest game. I feel Liverpool could have been a bit more better in the final third during the first half of the game. where Gakpo missed his one chance. Then Gravenberch, he got a shot saved by Flecken, which was a pretty decent effort at goal. And yep, the Brentford, on the other hand, they could have had a goal themselves in the opening 5 minutes when I think Roslev's the cross was unattended by any of the Brentford players. That was one moment that kind of worried me. And even Simicas, he got booked pretty early for bringing Embuemo down. And what I was surprised with Brentford was that after seeing Simicas get that yellow card, attack. They didn't focus their attack a lot towards the left hand side, which I felt they should have done if they would have wanted to get some points off Liverpool. But then, yeah, overall, like after the first few signs of Brentford having the getting the opener, Liverpool stepped up pretty well defensively, and yeah, we played well uh, in terms of defense. But I feel the attack before Nunes cameo should have done a bit better. But yeah, all is well that ends well, and I'll take this win by hook or by crook because these are such key wins. Going away to Brentford, Nottingham, Bournemouth right now, then even grounds like Craven Cottage, etc. They're such tricky grounds, and you'd always see teams that fight for the title go over there and then drop a few points. Even I'll mention Goodison Park for that matter,
Not just
and
this, I'm surprised you have not said Selhurst Park, Istanbul. You forgot it, is it?
because we won against Crystal Palace this season out there.
They were
I'm
quite
actually
shit
more
at the
worried.
beginning of the season, though.
Exactly. I'll be honest. I actually like worried. Like after looking at the fixtures for this season, I thought the home game would be a bit more important than the away game because the home game was the game last season where Liverpool absolutely choked, and yep, we saw everything unravel towards the end.
So, what are your thoughts on that? There was like a Visa move that got called for offside where he wasn't. Do you think you got away with that a little bit there?
Kind of 50-50. But then, yeah, if VAR was, I think VAR was also looking at that incident and that could have been chalked off for an offside if play was allowed to continue. So, yeah. But then, yeah, see, the thing is, Brentford, they lacked that cutting edge, as you had mentioned before, because they had put in a lot of effort against Man City. And I felt that against Man City, Brentford should have won that game. They had a couple of chances on the counter where they could have buried City. But then, yeah, thankfully, they put a lot of their effort on the City game and they didn't have that cutting edge when they faced Liverpool.
And
There were a
Mbeumo
few
was
shots.
extremely tired. Mbeumo looked like knackered when like he was playing
Exactly.
after 65
He put
minutes.
in
Exactly.
like 100%
He
effort
looked
against
gassed.
City.
He looked gassed after as the game progressed. So, yeah.
But
He
yeah, I
put in
think
a lot of effort against City. It's tough to
yeah,
go back to back, to host City and Liverpool back to back.
I think
And I even feel
Frank's,
yep.
Thomas
Go
Frank is
on.
a good shout out to replace Ange if at all they decide to sack him.
Oh my God, no, I love Thomas Frank and I would not want some this to happen to him. Like, I'll be very unbiased.
Thomas
Like,
Frank doesn't deserve an owner like Daniel Levy. Come on.
Yeah, no, but I think I
also
hope
Thomas
Yep.
Frank, I think, is too smart to go there.
I still
Exactly.
Ange will stay, but if at all they decide to sack him, they have quite a few decent managers in the league, right? Because all the teams, like we speak about Bournemouth, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Brentford, all of these also have like a good coaching system in place. Like they are ready to put their system in play right from academies, which helps in players when they come into the first team. Like you have removed the concept of, let's say, top six or like middle six or like even bottom six or something like that, because all the teams are playing football right from the academy level, and you have basically taken out like the individual brilliance out of the game nowadays, because all the players are like too much rooted into the system that you don't see that form of like a Grealish at Aston Villa kind of a player anymore in the league.
Yeah. Gre Pep beat the Grealish out of Grealish as well.
Yeah.
So there we go. Uh, so tough test upcoming for Liverpool next weekend at Bournemouth, but we go back
We
to
have
Arsenal.
Ipswich next week.
Oh, You have
Next
Ipswich.
weekend we
Oh,
have
but
Ipswich.
you're playing
The
Bournemouth
weekend
again.
after that, Bournemouth. Yeah.
Oh, I
The
think we
weekend
have
after
an
that, Bournemouth.
amazing game this weekend, which is Nottingham versus Bournemouth, which is like a great
That's going to
match
be,
of
Mm,
yeah,
new.
I think I'll definitely be watching that because,
same here.
wow, Nuno versus Ireola, two
Yeah.
really, really good coaches. I am very excited for that game. We come to Arsenal against Villa, where we frankly bottled the 2-0 lead. I was really, really excited to see us score two open play goals. Trossard put in a magnificent shift. He had, what was his name? I think it was Matty Cash on toast
Gosh.
the entire game, and he put in two brilliant crosses. He was unlucky to hit the post or something at the end as well. He missed a goal, but he was marginally offside. He missed a shot, like it just went on the edge of the. It went by the post towards the end, but I think he was offside. But yeah, what a silly lead to give away. And I think this was, you know, it was again due to injuries. Saliba was out. We were forced to place Timber at centre back. Ben White is out. He could have come in as a cover, but he's probably going to be out till the end of this month.
When is
So we
this
were.
experiment with that player in his 30s going to end?
I hope it should have ended 2 years ago. He has been, him at right back, Party at right back has been really, really terrible for us. Like if you look at the stats, I think he's played like 7 games at right back, and we've probably won one of them. It just goes to show that injuries do when your best players are out, you don't perform. Overall, it counts over the season. So yeah, he gave away. Thomas Partey had a nightmare. I think he was my really, really standout disaster class of the this game. He gave away the ball after being too adventurous, and that eventually went to a cross. And Merino didn't cover himself in glory either when he couldn't stop a beautiful ball from Dinia to make it 2-1. At that point, I think Arteta also should take the blame for not clamping it down, bringing on his defensive players. For some reason, he just didn't make any substitutions, though, and Partey was fully responsible for Ollie Watkins' goal. Again, it was a beautiful ball put in. Uh, Gabriel and, Havertz were there was like a miscommunication in that offside trap. Party stepped up, Gabriel and Havertz didn't, and suddenly it was 2-2, and it was game on. Like I think overall, Villa didn't create much in the game. They had a couple of good opportunities. Raya had made a good save in the first half, but after that, they were pretty quiet. And I was pleasantly surprised to go see us go 2-0 up. And after we went 2-2, we had the urgency, but we didn't have the players to execute on that urgency. The only player we could bring on was Sterling, and he wasn't great either. We still, in spite of that, we had some really, really good chances. Merino hit the post. We had one goal disallowed, which was because of a handball that Kai Havertz, you know, it was ball to hand, but I can totally, excuse that being a handball. I'm not one of those who say that it was not a handball or anything. I was on the replay, you could clearly see it hit his arm. So yeah, I think 2-2 was a deserved result after that performance. And I was really hopeful we'll continue to make ground up on Liverpool, but the double gut punch of Liverpool's score, Darwin Núñez getting the win for Liverpool at the end, and us like bottling a 2-goal lead, like really made me. I was like hanging on to one shred of hope that maybe we have we can still make it work if we get a signing in January. We survive this tough period until like Newcastle in the Carabao Cup on Feb 9th, we might still be able to make this league, take this league title, go to like the final month. But I think it's pretty much done now. So, that meme of, it's so over to we're so back. I'm definitely in the it's so over for real part now. So, yeah, I think even if Arsenal make a big money signing, I think it's really hard. Miracles have happened. It would take a really, really big one for Arsenal to get anything in the league this season.
But I don't think Arsenal can win this league unless, of course, Liverpool dramatically falters. Not just
Exactly.
not just from like a United fan standpoint, because I would actually want both the teams to lose, but especially Liverpool not to equal us. But the thing is, Arsenal is not playing that good enough to be a champion right now. Like their football is
100% agree.
their football is
We're
nowhere
hanging on
near.
with our defense. We don't have a good attack.
Yeah, so I don't think this is a champion team. I would have possibly said Arsenal had a better chance 2 years ago and the year before rather than what they are playing right now towards the league. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just I don't disagree with that. And
and
our
even if
best player
we
is
have
just out.
consistently degraded in points as well, right from the last 3 years, as much as you wouldn't have lost enough games, but your points tally has reduced when you see to the last 3 years as such. So it's not growing up. It's not an upwards trajectory. It's actually going lower. You can blame the injuries, you can blame the style of play, but it's just that it doesn't look like a champion team.
Yeah, and it isn't. I mean, it's not a question of blame. I think it's just a fact of, not having your top players available. Like if you look at like the injuries list of top, like the starting players missing games, Arsenal are fourth on that list. So it does generally definitely play a part in that. Um, and with this January period, last time in January we played 3 games. We've already played like 4 or 5 games. We have like 3 more to go. We're going to play 9 games in January this time. That's just an insane run. We had that
Because you'll also
reset.
have to partially blame Arteta because Arteta never rotates his team. Because Saka has played like every damn minute, even in a game that is not needed, like that he need not play the 90. So part of
Yeah,
this has to also be taken by the management team because you have
sure.
to manage the players' workload, right? You cannot play the players to the ground and then like tell that they got
Yeah, I
injured.
think I think I'm a bit more iffy on that because if you look at the minutes Salah has played in his career, it's pretty much on par with Saka. Like you don't leave your best players on the bench, and if you with Arteta, if he doesn't trust a player, I think that's one criticism that I have of him is that he doesn't trust his squad sometimes enough. He's afraid of the squad giving up, making a mistake that will lead to a defeat. So he's more focused on, hey, if I get a draw, I'll keep the draw and I'll just stick with whatever the first team offers. His squad, trusting his squad has been his Achilles heel for a bit. I've seen him grow in other aspects. Again, people forget that this is his first managerial job. So I'm sure he'll learn more. And I'm also sure that we're going to increase our squad depth in the summer, hopefully in January as well. So we'll see where Arsenal go from here. Although I completely agree that right now, like it would take like the miracle of one of the greatest miracles ever for us to have a shot at the league this season. Uh, Forgetting about that, let's go back to Manchester where United hosted their nemesis Brighton.
Yeah, what to say, where to start? I would possibly say as soon as the fixtures are announced at the beginning of the year, just donate our 6 points to Brighton because yeah, we have. It's been ages since last remember that we won against them, be it home or away. Earlier, at least, I was a little happy that Pascal Gross was not playing this year because he always scores at Old Trafford, and I was happy that he's at Dortmund and chilling in Germany while when I went to Old Trafford, I was happy that Gross was not playing, but yeah, they still found a way. But yeah, where to start? Very poor game right from the scratch. Not a single shot on target all game except the goal from Bruno Fernandes, which was a penalty. As much as I want to also say the official the refereeing in United games has been like atrocious recently, but we were still poor, and I'm not going to put the blame on the referees. Of course, they have to do a better job, but United did not play that well for me to just point the blame at referees right now. So United is still a work in progress. Yeah, as I said, right, when you are struggling against 20th place Southampton, which is still struggling, and you were struggling with them for 80 odd minutes, you cannot expect any half decent side would have mercilessly killed United that game, and Brighton did exactly the same. Um, yeah, so the experimentation with Bruno as the number 10 on the left should possibly be moved at some point of time, and we need Garnacho to start more games. But I think Garnacho is going to be sold pretty soon, so we don't know what is happening with his future right now with the PSR looming on
Why
United.
is that? Why is that the owners are willing to let Garnacho and even Mainu go? Is it just purely based on PSR?
it's based on PSR because the club is in such a huge debt right now. And still remember, because the fans brought in hoarding saying the 66 pound ticket is not our debt, but it is your debt, and you're putting it on our head. So that's how the blame is right now, because they are putting all the debt on the fans right now, and it is not helping anyone. I would ideally not sell a player of Garnacho's caliber, because we don't know what his ceiling is. He could very well turn out to be the next biggest thing in football, because he already has 14 goal contributions this season, in spite of playing in such a bad United side, possibly the worst, which Amarim has rightly pointed out as well. Uh, so
I will
unlike
point out one thing to you. This might be the worst United, but this might actually be the worst United that you've seen so far. Could
yeah,
also get worse.
yeah, no, it is not going to get worse. But the thing is, see, I'm happy that Amarim is hating the players as much as we do right now. So that is a good thing, because he knows what a shit bunch of players that he has inherited right now. Barring like a select 5 to 6 players, I would possibly sell out everyone right now.
Who
And
who are those five, do you think?
I think I will keep Euro because
Mhm.
he's good. I will keep Delict in the team. Maguire has shown consistency, but again, it's a something that you can always have, because we are playing in a system that helps him. I would certainly keep Mainu. I would keep Bruno, and I would keep Ahmad. Anyone else? It's always like you can start afresh, because I don't think Ruben Amorim trusts anyone in this side right now, and he has clearly said everyone is underperforming in this side, and he knows who he can trust. And you still have not seen Casemiro play a single minute, even in these kind of games, which clearly shows he wants to ship out certain players, clear the wage bill, so that he can get some players that he can trust. We are playing.
Surely Casemiro's physical decline is, kind of obvious at this point. The age curve spares no one, right?
Yeah, it's sad to see that like what kind of a downfall he has had, because his first season under Eric Ten Hag was still amazing. Like he gave us dreams which we shouldn't have had in the first place, because he single-handedly saved our side, and we finished third that year because of Casemiro, actually, because the moment we signed him, we got better. But yeah, the thing is, he Amarim is playing a back three system with a back four side. Eric Ten Hag has signed 600 million worth of players who are either injury prone or error prone. And yeah, his talent ID, Eric Ten Hag's talent ID, can be questioned right now, because none of them can adapt to a newer way of playing right now that is clearly visible to see. Possibly, again, as I said, Amarim needs more time on the training pitch, and that might show up very soon. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah. So United? Who do United play next?
United play Fulham away.
Fulham away. That's going to be a tough game as well, because
It's
Fulham
going to
at
be a
home
tough
have
game.
been a really, really tricky opponent, as we found out earlier in the season as well.
Yeah,
Liverpool play Ipswich.
any game is going to be easy for United, except the sides that we are playing below us, which is yeah, which is just going to be tough,
Not too
because
many at this point.
which is very tough, because we have very few sides below us right now.
I
So
do look forward to the United Spurs game again.
yeah,
Uh,
both the games are done. Both the games are done. So
oh, wait, United and
No,
Spurs are done for home and away?
yeah,
Carabao Cup. There was one Carabao Cup game, right?
no, no, away
I
is
think
also.
the
Really?
no, no, away isn't done. Away isn't
It
done.
isn't
That was a
done.
Carabao Cup game.
Ah, okay, okay then,
I
yeah.
think we
Yeah,
still have another train wreck to
yeah,
watch.
yeah, yeah.
So Liverpool play Ipswich. Arsenal go away to Molineux to Wolves at Molineux. But I think the game that we all need to watch this weekend is going to be Forest against Bournemouth. That said, great
We've
discussion.
got City Chelsea also this weekend.
Really? I did not check
Yes,
that. Well,
yes,
I
yes,
guess that's
yes.
another game that we do need to watch. Though I feel like I'm going to call it in favor of. Is it City at
It's at
City?
Etihad. Etihad, yeah.
Okay, so I feel like I'm confident calling it in favor of City,
Same
but
here,
you
same
never
here.
know. You never know. The Premier League always throws up surprises. But do
Correct.
watch Premier League Game Week 23 and join us again next week. Thanks, guys, for showing up. This was a great discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.